What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with a video for you guys today on this right here. This is the Schiit Hel-2. I finally got this thing after waiting for quite a while. It was delayed. It is still delayed. It is about a 6-week delay from the time you order it to the time you get it. Is it worth the wait? And more importantly, does it do everything that I said it would in my previous video? I'm going to answer all those questions, and while I'm getting ready to answer them, I'd love for you guys to subscribe to the channel. When I did my original video, which the description is in the link is in the description box below, I said that I thought this digital analog converter was the premier way to experience good sound on your PlayStation 5. And I can say after extensively testing it, it is, without a doubt. This is the replacement for me. Period. This is the way I prefer to hear my sound. And after using a device as powerful as this, it honestly takes the Astro MixAmp, which I do still love, and I have a very near and dear place in my heart for the MixAmp. This blows this out of the water a thousand times. There are some limitations with this, and I'm going to get into kind of the pros and cons and lay it out for you guys so it's very crystal clear. Remember that when the PlayStation 5 came out, the optical port was removed. That caused a lot of conundrum, a big ruckus. How are we going to be able to plug in our beloved Astro MixAmp? Most digital analog converters use optical as their primary input. I could get the HDMI optical splitter, but I lose a potential of getting that 4K, that nice clear 4K image. I may lose 120 frames a second, or I can plug it into the back of my television, which has an optical port there, but I bought a cheap TV and I introduced some audio latency and some delay. A lot of people didn't know what to do. Some people went wireless with like the Pulse 3D headphones. Some people went the other route with the Arctis, the Steel Series, the 7Ps, which I have. And then there's this small subset of us who want wired, who knew that the Astro really was the premier solution and wanted to get back to that, but couldn't because PlayStation doesn't support very standard UAC, which is a universal serial bus standard, right? And as a result, DACs didn't necessarily work, or they partially worked. Well, Schiit figured this out. They figured this out with the Hel-2, and it still supports optical if you want it, but it also supports USB. Now, what does that mean? That means that you plug this into your PlayStation 5, and if you want 3D audio, you can enable it. If you don't want 3D audio, you disable it. It means that it will plug into your gaming computer. It means it will plug into anything that drives a signal via USB, and it does such a phenomenal job of doing it. Now, the one caveat I want to be very clear on, because a lot of people ask this of me when they see some of my other videos on on audio videos, and I have a whole playlist of just audio stuff. A lot of people ask me, well, what is the best equalizer setting for this? Let me be very clear. This does not do anything with equalizers. This purely takes the signal that is sent into it, amplifies it, strengthens it, and sends it out. That's all that it does. It does not have equalizer settings to adjust footsteps in Call of Duty. It does not have equalizer settings to adjust footsteps in Apex Legends, or to make the engine sound better in a racing game, or any of that. All it does is whatever it receives as an input, it beefs it up and it sends it out. And I know that maybe it sounds like I'm belittling it because, well, geez, the Astro MixAmp did all those things. And it did allow me to fine-tune footsteps, and it did allow me to fine-tune certain frequencies, and I could download presets and manipulate and make the game sound the way I could. Well, yes, it does. The problem is that you're taking a signal, you're doing what they call post-processing on it, and then you're sending it out to another source, obviously your headphones in this case. And that does present problems sometimes. I didn't experience it, but sometimes it may feel like there's a little bit of latency. If you don't set up the equalizer settings correctly, you may end up really making the game sound worse, even though you think you're helping it out. That's why a lot of people swear by just flat equalizer settings. They don't want any kind of processing. They want the artist's work to be true to the source. and they want to just hear exactly the way that it was. And as I've gotten more time in with the Schiit Hel-2, what a wonderful name, I understand that more, and I've come to respect that. And I say, you know what? I have not always been the biggest fan of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War soundstage. I've been very clear. I think 3D audio on that sounds like garbage. But the Treyarch mix actually sounds pretty good. And when you amplify it and you make it sound even more vibrant and loud and clear, you hear some of those finer things that you may not have heard before. All the subtle metal clicking and clanking and slamming as you're reloading guns in Call of Duty. It's a very distinct, rich sound that when you're playing with Astro and you're trying to adjust equalizer settings to get better sound, better footprints, you're probably going to scrub all that out, or you're going to muffle it to a point that it doesn't sound clear. When you're listening to music on this thing, you're going to hear the way the song was meant to be registered and rendered, and you're going to be able to sniff out and hear things you never heard before. And I challenged a few of my friends with a couple songs that I have recently started listening to, and I'm like, wow, there actually is a chorus here that I didn't hear before. There's a subtle guitar playing in the background. Is it revolutionary? Is it life-changing? No. But what is really, okay? But the fact that it's got such a great ability to amplify and to, really just take what it hears and just make it sound more vibrant and clear, that's exactly what this device is meant to do. So if you buy it, it's going to come with everything you need. A lot of people may be, like, oh, I don't have a, you see the headphone jack over here, right? It's 1/4 inch. Well, a lot of people don't have that. They have the little phono jack. Well, they got you covered. It comes with an adapter and it works just fine. And I've played with it and it's great. I use the Sennheiser HD 598s right here. I got a new pair of headphones coming. They should be here later in the week. I'll do a review on those at the time. But for now, I'm still rocking out my old tried and true Sennheiser 598s, which actually do include this cable, which really is kind of standard for most music applications and amplifiers and things like that. But video games and more mobile devices have gone the way of the 3.5 millimeter. But it's got an adapter if you don't have that. It also has a port here in the front for separate microphone input, which, again, if you are using a conventional headset that has a dedicated lead, well, they have you covered with an adapter. If you're using a headphone, if you're using an old microphone like this one here, that is the TRRS, which is the tip ring sleeve, you can plug it into the adapter and you can see it converts it there. They thought of everything. It's got a switch if you want to use USB input, or if you want to use an optical input. It's got a toggle here to adjust the microphone volume, so you can raise or lower how loud your microphone is, and obviously it has the volume knob, which is good, right? They really thought of everything. Performance-wise, how does it work on games? That's why I bought it. Remember, I bought this because the PlayStation 5 took away the optical port, okay? How does this work on games? It works phenomenally. And I was blown away by just how much of the game I wasn't hearing, probably from my own just willingness to accept other equalizer settings that I have downloaded online, probably because my headphones weren't being driven as well as they should, particularly the cheap wireless headphones that had a lower driving impedance, that had just more muffled sounds to them. And this isn't taking away from the Pulse headphones. This isn't taking away from the SteelSeries 7P headphones. This isn't taking away from any other wireless headphone that a lot of people like. For me, I know I like wired better. I think they drive harder and I want them to sound more clear. The problem is the DualSense controller just doesn't have the way to drive more like just really good sounds. And a lot of times people will plug in just a standard, like an Astro A40 headset or the A20s, or even you can plug in these if you wanted to, into your DualSense controller, and it just doesn't have that loud, vibrant oomph and ring and feel and power to it, because it just can't push out such a good signal. Well, because this is externally powered, you're going to get a very loud signal. As a matter of fact, when I play, I don't change the volume much, but I'd say at 30% at most. If I took this thing and cranked it all the way up to 100%, I would put my headphones down. I could leave the room and I would still hear the music. And honestly, if you had a cheaper pair of headphones, there's a really good chance you would damage them, because it just drives so much power. Because it is USB, it does support 3D audio. So you can turn on 3D audio in Returnal. You can turn on 3D audio in Resident Evil Village. Or, in my case, you could turn it off when you play Black Ops Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. You could turn it off there. I don't think it sounds very good. But if you like it, leave it on. That's the advantage of this being driven by a USB signal, is that 3D audio is supported. So it's there if you want it. It's also there if you don't want it. When you're listening to music on YouTube or listening to streamers on Twitch or listening to anything through these things with headphones, you are going to be absolutely blown away by just how much more clear things sound. It's got a nice drive on the impedance. If you want to buy really high impedance headphones, you absolutely can. You're going to get crystal clear sound out of those. If you have a little cheaper pair of headphones, it's still going to sound really good, and it's going to clean up the signal in a way you probably didn't even know that you wanted. But I want to stress this, and I'll close out the video with this. It does not include an equalizer. It does not do Dolby. It does not simulate 5.1, 2.1, 7.1. DTS, Headphone X, any of that stuff. It doesn't do it. All it does is it takes the signal that it gets, it drives it up, and it sends it out. That's all that it does. And you might say, well, geez, it sounds to me like the Astros are a better solution. But I'm telling you, this is, again, remember, there's no golden ear. You pick what you like. If you don't like the way I hear things and you hear them differently and you like it better, great. It's not a fight. There is no golden ear. Everybody hears things differently. To me, after owning the Astro MixAmp for as long as I have, after buying a nicer pair of headphones with Sennheiser HD 598s, I got some 650s coming next week, after playing with mid-tier headphones like Plantronics and playing around with Xbox wireless headsets and playing around with the Pulses and playing around with the SteelSeries 7Ps, I can tell you guys, to me, and this is just one man's opinion, this absolutely blows the doors off every other thing I've heard. I am so glad I got this. I knew it was going to take a long time to order, and it finally came in, and I'm so happy. So try it out. If you don't believe me, obviously it's not cheap. It runs about $200 US. But if you're like me and you want the best sound out of your PlayStation 5, this is how you're going to get it. That's my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts below, so leave some comments. I will also post a link as well. I got a lot of links down there to my audio playlist. So I have a lot of other videos on audio stuff. It may help you guys out, or at least let you hear things in a different light. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.